I never thought I would find my entire world shattered. Not by an earthquake, but by a glowing screen at 2 a.m. The faint blue light illuminated Sarah's face. Serene in sleep beside me while her phone, carelessly left unlocked on the nightstand, pulsed with a notification. It wasn't a text from her sister or a work email. It was a message from a number I didn't recognize, a name I'd never heard. Can't wait for Miami. Our little secret. My breath hitched, a cold dread seeping into my bones. Far deeper than the chill of the air conditioning. The words hung in the silent room, a venomous whisper promising a betrayal so profound it threatened to unravel the very fabric of our 10-year marriage. What secret? And who was art for? If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from. And what time it is right now? It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The next few weeks were a blur of forced smiles and internal screaming. Sarah, my beautiful, vibrant Sarah, had been cheating on me. The realization hit me like a physical blow, leaving me winded and humiliated. Every touch felt like a lie, every shared laugh a cruel mockery. I saw her through a new, distorted lens. The late nights at work, the sudden interest in new lingerie, the way she'd clutch her phone, face down, whenever I entered the room. The man Mark was a ghost in our home. His presence felt in the subtle shifts of her behavior, the guarded glances, the distant air. I started noticing things, small, almost imperceptible changes at first. Her phone, once an open book, was now password protected. She'd take calls in the other room, her voice hushed. Receipts for expensive dinners at places like the Capitol Grill in Dallas. Far from her usual lunch spots, started appearing in her purse. One evening, while she was showering, her tablet buzzed with a new email notification. It was from a dating app, a profile picture of a man with a smug grin, and a message, "Still thinking about our weekend in South Beach, Miami." It clicked. The dread intensified, twisting into a knot of nausea in my stomach. I confronted her, not directly but with a question about her busy schedule. She became cold, defensive, her eyes hardening. "You're being paranoid, David. I'm working hard for us. Asterisk." The manipulation was subtle, insidious. She turned my concern into an accusation, making me feel like the villain for even questioning her. She started picking fights, creating distance, as if to justify her actions. "Maybe we just need space," she'd say, her voice devoid of the warmth I once cherished. She felt untouchable, shielded by her lies and my own lingering hope that I was wrong. One night I broke, sat in our living room, the city lights of Chicago twinkling outside our apartment window on Michigan Avenue, and I wept. Not just tears, but guttural sobs that tore through me, emptying me of every ounce of love, trust, and hope I had left. The loyal husband was gone, replaced by a hollow shell. But in that emptiness, a cold, hard resolve began to form. I wouldn't just leave. I would make her pay. My revenge began quietly, meticulously. I hired a private investigator, a discreet woman named Alina, who worked out of a small office in a nondescript building off West Loop. She confirmed my worst fears. Providing photos of Sarah and Mark, a real estate developer from Miami, entering and leaving the Fontainebleau Hotel on Collins Avenue. She also uncovered something far more sinister. Mark, it turned out, had a history of exploiting women, not just for sex, but for information. He ran a side business, a dark corner of the internet, where he sold intimate details, financial secrets, and even compromising photos of his conquests to the highest bidder. Sarah's little secret wasn't just about infidelity, it was about her life and mine being auctioned off online. The proof accumulated. Encrypted messages between Sarah and Mark discussing my business, dealings, screenshots of bank transfers from Mark to an offshore account, and chillingly, a folder on Mark's cloud drive labeled Sarah Assets, containing photos of her home and even scans of our joint financial documents. He was selling her secrets, and she was too arrogant and blinded by her affair to see it. I consulted with a divorce attorney, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Ms. Albright, whose office overlooked the bustling streets of downtown Los Angeles. She outlined a strategy that would not only ensure I walked away with everything, but would also expose Sarah and Mark for their crimes. We built a case for marital misconduct, fraud, and invasion of privacy. I set up a shell company, Phoenix Holdings, and through a proxy, I began bidding on the Sarah Assets folder on Mark's dark web marketplace. I wanted to own the evidence, to control the narrative. The public exposure was swift and brutal. On the day of our divorce hearing in the Los Angeles County Superior Court, I presented the evidence. The courtroom, usually a place of hushed tones, erupted in gasps as Ms. Albright projected the screenshots of Mark's marketplace. The bids on Sarah's personal information and the damning messages. Sarah's face, usually composed and arrogant, crumbled. Mark, who had been subpoenaed, sat pale and sweating, his smugness replaced by sheer terror. The judge, a stern woman with no tolerance for deceit, granted me the divorce, awarded me full ownership of our assets, and initiated a criminal investigation into Mark for cybercrime and Sarah for complicity in fraud. The news spread like wildfire. Once a respected figure in her social circles became a pariah. Her career imploded. Her friends vanished. The legal battles that followed, fueled by my relentless pursuit of justice, drained her of every last penny. Mark, facing federal charges, implicated her further in a desperate plea deal. She was completely ruined. A cautionary tale whispered in the hushed tones of the city's elite. I saw her once, months later, walking alone down a desolate street in downtown Miami, far from the glamorous South Beach she'd once frequented with Mark. Her shoulders were slumped, her hair unkempt. She didn't see me, and I didn't acknowledge her. There was no triumph, no joy, just a profound, chilling emptiness. The silence that followed was deafening, a constant reminder of what was lost and what was irrevocably broken. It's the end.